Hello viewers, it's Beloved's Corner once again. We are here again to talk about relationships. These days the young people have a lot of questions, but who do they turn to? Because if you begin to ask, then it looks like, hey, I'm looking after you, that's your parents, I'm looking after you in school, and you're thinking about marriage. You would have completed school and working, but who do you talk to? Is it your pastor? Is it your counselor? We are here, Beloved's Corner, to tell you about things you ought to know, the questions that you ask, the answers to these questions, the problems that you have, how do we solve them? And we've been looking at courtship for the past few times. We will still continue. The questions are numerous. You can send your concerns, questions, contributions to our email address, which is belovedscorner@gmail.com. You can like our page on Facebook and then subscribe to our YouTube channel, Beloved's Corner. Viewers, we are going to look at how you can determine whether you are compatible or not. We have spoken earlier about us not testing, that is having sex before marriage. It is wrong. As Christians, we don't believe in premarital sex. This is because the Lord says marriage is honorable and its bed undefiled. And to avoid fornication, Paul spelled it out clearly. He says to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and women having their own husbands. So it tells us that this sex or intimacy is only done in marriage. So then, what do we do? Compatibility, I've told you earlier that to be compatible in terms of sex, God in his wisdom made women such that we can accommodate anything when it comes to bed. And that is why we can have different children with different sizes of heads, all passing through the same canal. So please, don't let us go about saying that I have to test, I have to know whether this woman is good. Whatever the situation, we can always learn and improve. We have all the time in the world to work on these things. Now, when it comes to likes and dislikes, we are all made of different temperaments, and it's very, very important to know your partner's temperament. That is why during courtship, you have to work and concentrate on these areas. Which are the areas? What does the person like to do? What is my partner's or my beloved's likes and dislikes? Know the temperament and know to accept the weaknesses of each temperament. You might have been attracted to a sanguine because you are a melancholy. You don't even know how he or she excites himself and excites others. And so it's something that you admire so much. Therefore, you are attracted to the person. You get close and you realize that the person talks and never ends. What do? You also can't even keep up with the conversation. But then you should admire that, knowing that this is a natural thing. It comes naturally. The person too cannot also accommodate your quietness, but that is you, and you have to agree. That is what we call the key of acceptance. You have to accept each other's strength and each other's weaknesses, and then we pray alongside, because we have what we call the spirit-controlled temperament. What do we mean by spirit-controlled temperament? If you are too moody, we will pray about it, and then we try that when we see that the moodiness is springing forth, then we would have to push it aside and try and be warm, and then make the relationship lively as possible. We need to accommodate each other's weaknesses, because we can't change any human being. We don't even have the ability to create or change. Therefore, we need to appreciate how God made us. The differences makes it even nicer, because opposites attract. That is why you cannot make a woman become like a man or think like a man. You cannot let a guy also think like a woman or behave like a woman. We need to accept the differences, and that is the beauty of love. It's love unconditional. You shouldn't expect the person to be an angel, a heavenly made person purposely for me to meet every need of mine. No, the person is not God. Paul said, and my God shall supply all my needs according to his riches. So your partner is not God. and therefore the person cannot meet all your needs. The person wants happiness like you also do. Therefore, let us direct or divert our attention to the God that we serve, because He will be able to meet us at the point of our needs. We shouldn't always say that He doesn't make me happy, she doesn't make me happy, this courtship is boring. No, there are good things that you can look up to and make it work, if only there is the fear of God. As I keep saying, that the two of you should seek God, and as you seek God, you also are met at the point of your need. If you depend totally on your partner for food, for clothing, he will be tired, she will be tired. Let us depend on our source, who is our maker. What do we also have to know? We also have to know that, are we thinking alike in terms of the way we want our children to be educated? Because these things bring about a lot of arguments. How many children do we want to have? Is it that I'm the type that would want to have a large family? Am I a family person? Do I love to have a lot of people around me? Your partner might be so warm that all the time he wants people around, but you might be the quiet type. But we have to meet each other halfway, and then it will make our lives very beautiful. We were talking about compatibilities, and then we said, how compatible should you be? So now we have to know about each other's temperament. Is very, very important. And knowing the temperament would help you understand your partner to be. Because courtship is all about walking you through those times into marriage. And marriage should not be broken. As Christians, we do our best, we try. Because if we end up splitting, it's going to affect our children, if there are any. So we have to have all these things in mind. And that's not what you wanted. You wouldn't have taken that beautiful lady to the altar, and the lady wouldn't have followed that nice gentleman also to the church. So now we are trying to see why marriages break, and we are thinking that if we handle our courtship periods properly, these things will not happen. Compatibility, this comes to age. Is it right to date someone who is older than you? Either the man is far older than the woman, or the woman is older than the man. I would say that age in marriage do not really matter until the age is such that you are incompatible. What do I mean? Young people have a way of doing their things and what excites them, and elderly people, because of this changing scenes of life, might have also realized that some things are unnecessary, they are vanity, and therefore they would not want to engage in such things. So it will mean that whilst you want to sit out and have fun, maybe on in a boat on a river or something, the elderly person also wants to be indoors whilst he or she studies. So then it will be better that at least there will be some closeness in the age. And it works when even women are a little older than their men. It's a matter of respect for each other. I've seen marriages where women are older than the men and they treat them so well and they are happy. So it's a matter of you respecting your younger brother as a husband to be, and he also respecting his younger sister as a wife to be. There shouldn't be any problem if there's any age difference, but the wide ones, usually they suffer. And these wide-aged is usually when the man is older, far older, and might have had children, maybe lost the wife or separated. And when you go as a second wife or a younger person, know that you are going in with a double carriage, because you have to deal with the age difference, deal with the children that already exist. You have to take all these things into consideration. The Bible says that who is it when it's going to build does not count the cost. So when you want to enter into a relationship with an elderly person, know the consequence and ask yourself if you are ready to comply and then stay and be happy. Now, we also have to find out our interests in terms of education. So there's the need that whatever, you should be able to communicate when it comes to interest. Do you have interest in my career? Does she have interest in my also field of work? It makes conversation very easy and it flows. And communication is the key. So if you are talking about things that I'm not interested in because I want to also be with my classmates, it also brings a lot of problem. Then we all have to upgrade each other. During courtship, all these problems might come up, and then we work at it. If we are in love with each other, we respect each other, we want to be in the arms of each other, then what do I do to improve upon myself? Most of the times, the gentleman would want to help the lady come up. The lady would want to help the gentleman come up. And it's so beautiful and it's so loving when you respect each other in that field and do not look down upon the other person because of the gap, but then you rather help the person to come up. That is when you are working at your relationship. And when you settle to marry, you know where you have started from, where you have come from, and what you have gone through. And therefore, you cherish each other and you enjoy the successes together. Compatibility. The tribe that I come from, the town that I come from, the language that I speak, do your people look down upon us? It's very, very important, because you can go into marriage and they would never accept you. Even the names that you give to your children, they would always fight it. So know that what I'm going in for, how am I going to handle this? Do my parents always talk about the other people and look down upon them? Do they see them as inferior? Because as Christians, we are the same. When we come to our faith, we all believe in the same God. So therefore, let your partner know how your people feel about them, so that the person will be cautious also how he or she relates to your family. It's very important. Compatibility is very important. But you don't say that we are not compatible in bed. That one is reserved for marriage and married couples alone. If we go by this, we know that our marriages will end up well. It doesn't mean that all the people who stay pure are those that stay married throughout. But I know that a majority of the people who fear God in this light come to the point of admitting that the Lord has been good. So young people, let's take good care of ourselves. Don't let us rush into bed with gentlemen that come away with the eagerness to marry. I want to marry, I want to marry. And therefore, any gentleman that comes, you think that, oh, if I give my body to this man, he's going to marry me. You are lying. Immediately you stoop low and give your body to this gentleman, he's going to dump you, look for another person. So he finds someone who can keep herself pure. Then he knows that he's getting a marriageable material. So don't be swept off your feet by nice words and gifts and money and those things. Seek men who fear God, because faithfulness goes with the fear of God. And for the gentlemen, look for women who fear God. When they fear God, they will become virtuous, because as they stay in the house of God, they will be nurtured, they will be taught, and they will be prepared for the D-Day. Courtship is very, very important. It's the time to know each other. It's the time to know our differences. It's the time to see whether we are compatible. And you don't easily break courtship because you say that, no, we are not compatible. I call him, he doesn't pick up. His time is wrong. We work at it. We work at it. It's love. That is why we need to marry the one we love, the one we respect. Because if you love someone, the Bible says, love covereth multitudes of sin. But know that you are not in an abusive relationship. People think that when the gentleman beats them, it's because they love them. You are wrong. They will beat you to death. Know that courtship is when you will know whether this person is patient with me at my weaknesses. This person is tolerant at my weaknesses. Then we can move on and become husband and wife. Thank you for watching once more. We'll come your way with more interesting topics. See you. It's Beloved's Corner. Thank you.